Is your child writing in print handwriting? One letter at a time, each letter separate? But wait, do you know the very handwriting you appreciate as neat is actually draining your child's brain of its full capacity? Hello, this is Maneesha Rajpal and you are listening to Inner Architecture. In today's episode, we go beyond what is visible and understand what is shaping performance underneath. Because many a times, the issue isn't the child. It's the pattern the child is being trained into. Let's slow this down and look closely. When I say print or copybook style handwriting, I mean writing where every letter stands alone. One letter is written, the pen lifts, it is placed again, and the next letter begins. Take for example a simple word walk. The child writes the letter W. The pen lifts. It comes down again to the paper, writes the next letter A. Then up again, moves forward, writes the next letter L. And once more lifts, brings the pen back to the paper and writes the next letter K. This handwriting with word walk may look neat, clean, and even impressive to some. In fact, let me tell you, some children naturally prefer to write this way, and in many cases, schools also reinforce print or manuscript style of writing as the expected norm. What I gave you was a demonstration of only 4-letter word, but it had costed brain a lot of effort. These were only 4 letters, but the brain experienced this process very differently. In print or copybook style of writing, the hand keeps stopping, then lifting, then adjusting, and then restarting. What looks like writing to us is actually a chain of interrupted moments. Every time the child lifts the pen, the brain has to reset the moment. Start again, stabilize again, execute again. And this is where a natural question comes up. If the hand is forced to restart with every single letter, how can the mind ever truly find its flow? Any activity which requires you to start, stop will cause you more strain. So when a child writes in print handwriting, the brain is engaging in start, stop process for every single letter. Therefore, we need to remember that seemingly neat print handwriting comes at the cost of a tired brain. In case today a new perspective came as if a sealed window finally caught the wind, you may want to save this episode in your playlist because once you start noticing this pattern, you'll want to come back to it. Now, you must be thinking, if print handwriting creates strain, why is it even encouraged by some schools and some teachers? Well, the answer lies in practicality. Schools are not making neurological decisions. They are responding to the demands of logistics. Because with a class size of more than 40 pupils, print handwriting is easier to teach and standardize, faster for teachers to read multiple notebooks, and hence it reduces correction friction. In a nutshell, print handwriting is easier to read and faster to check. So from a school and teacher perspective, yes, it works. But here's the catch. What works for the system does not always work for the child's brain. Let us understand that enforcing print handwriting is a system convenience, not a child-centric optimization. While schools focus on what is easiest to assess, the brain needs rhythm to flow its thoughts and ideas. Let me explain this in a way you can feel immediately. If I ask you to stand continuously for 10 minutes, like waiting in an airport check-in queue, you can manage that. If I ask you to sit continuously for 10 minutes, this is also manageable. But now try this. Stand up, sit down, stand up again, sit again. Keep alternating, standing, sitting for 10 minutes. You will feel far more exhausted. Not because standing or sitting is difficult, it is because your body keeps switching states. This is a fundamental neurological principle. The brain prefers rhythm because rhythm conserves energy, while every interruption breaks that rhythm and demands more mental effort. Now let's transfer this understanding to handwriting. Connected handwriting is like standing continuously. The hand moves forward in one rhythm. Print handwriting is like standing, sitting. So, in a word walk, this is what was happening. Write a letter, stop, lift, restart. Write a letter, stop, lift, restart. The brain is forced into repeated interruptions. Every pen lift requires the brain to stop, replan the moment, and restart again. This repeated interruption that runs in loop is neurologically expensive. Let this sink in for a moment. Print handwriting does not fail first at speed. It shows up first as hand pain and then as incomplete work. By around class 8, this becomes non-negotiable. By then, writing is required to be more sustained, continuous, and demanding. The quantity has increased, the duration has stretched, and the brain is expected to keep up with all of it without pause. And this is where things begin to change. What seemed manageable before starts showing as the hand starts protecting itself and the brain starts conserving energy. The result that we see is the unfinished exam papers. It is not that the child doesn't know the answers, it's because the act of writing itself has become exhausting. Let us understand all this from scientific researchers and their findings. Neuroscience and educational studies from United States, France, and Germany have shown that connected handwriting activates the brain as an integrated system. There is this research that I would like to quote here. It is by Dr. Virginia Berninger. This research was conducted by the University of Washington, and it was published in journals such as Developmental Neuropsychology and the Journal of Learning Disabilities. This research gave some groundbreaking findings. It demonstrated that cursive or connected handwriting simultaneously engaged different areas of the brain like motor areas, language processing regions, and visual integration networks. In simple terms, the brain is not working in parts. It is working together as one system. In sharp contrast, disconnected print handwriting shows fragmented activation and higher working memory load per word. In short, connected handwriting is metabolically cheaper for the brain, whereas the print handwriting costs more neural energy. Now think of it like this. Just imagine a car designed to run at 100 kilometers per hour. But every 10 meters it has to stop because of deep potholes. For this car, it is restart, stop again, restart. The car never reaches the speed it is capable of. Yet, the car arrives at the destination, but late. To an onlooker, this car looks slow and inefficient, but in reality, the machine is under strain. No one sees the road condition the car had to endure, rather they all judge the car. This is what happens with the child too. For print handwriting, some parents might say, at least it's readable. Oh, yes, it is readable. And here is the uncomfortable truth. This readability comes at the cost of brain efficiency. Print handwriting makes a capable brain look inefficient because it cannot maintain the flow. And slowly, over time, the child begins to believe, maybe I am slow. This doesn't just always show up as anxiety. It often shows up as self doubt during exams, reduced trust in one's own performance, and quiet erosion of self esteem. The child may speak confidently, interact normally, but writing? That feels unreliable. This kind of print handwriting does not define confidence, rather, it can quietly collapse it. And this is where one more distinction matters. Not all schools insist on print handwriting, but some schools do stress on print or manuscript style of writing as the preferred way of writing. When that preference continues into higher grades, the strain shifts from the system onto the child's brain and body. Handwriting is not about neatness. It is about stamina, rhythm, and allowing the brain to move forward without interruption. It is about maintaining the flow of thought. Because handwriting is the communication bridge between the child's brain and the outside world. And this is where an important question arises. If handwriting directly affects the brain, endurance, confidence, then who is actually trained to understand and develop the child's handwriting? If something stayed with you, do share this episode who needs to hear this. In the next episode, we'll talk about why handwriting development is not an English teacher's job and why it needs a graphologist. This is Maneesha Rajpal and you have been listening to Inner Architecture.